gentlemen, I present to you Life's Milkshake Moment with health coach Joe D.
Hey there, I'm Jody Bear, and it is my delight and honor to bring you yet another of life's milkshake moments. For those of you that are new, I'm Dr. Jody Bear, certified health coach and holistic nutritionist. And for those of you that know me and have seen me now for over these last, 11 months, just say, hey, I'm Jody, okay? So these last 42 years and what I've developed, y'all, is a focus on the foundation of health in all 6 pillars of your human existence, starting with spiritual, physical, mental, emotional, social, and financial, and also foundations of living, foundations of hope. That's why they call me America's top foundational health coach. The context of life's milkshake moment is this. Life is like a milkshake. Choose your ingredients wisely, and when you do, life will be oh so sweet. With a client base of over 1 million of toxic fat lost, 1 million clients? No, but 1 million pounds. That means that there's a lot of people that have had health and hope. And also in the COVID culture of over 2,000 clients that I've assisted in supporting in being able to rejuvenate and reclaim your life, because the body is a miracle making machine. The body put in any condition can and will heal itself. And you're going to hear that tonight. My personal quote from our book, Ignite Your Foundational Wisdom, Your Foundational Wisdom. But actually, that's my topic of this, but it's Ignite Your Wisdom. Our book that debuted in June, as you know, that Ignite Publishing is our sponsor. So I am so grateful that they are. But Ignite Your Wisdom, my chapter said in there, when you take care of you and your world first, the world around you is empowered forever. Forever. And it begins in the mental and the emotional set. It just does. And frankly, that's what we're going to be talking about tonight. As you hear it in that Ignite video, our Ignite corporate sponsor. And I'm honored to be a participant in along with 33 authors, and one of them is here tonight. This 20th book that Ignite Publishing has brought to the forefront. Tonight, I'm featuring one of those authors, as I said. Tonight, I am going ahead and telling you that her story is riveting. Her story will be life-changing. And if you want to read her story along with my story, just look at the bottom of the screen. You can go in and order not only that book, but our first book that I wrote with Mr. Les Brown with Ignite the Hunger. And you can bundle it up. But all the profits of my books go to charity, my charity, La Casa Ropa de Sobre in Colombia. My background, this brown-haired, ponytailed, and brown-eyed girl from small town Montana, I lived my life from those 6 pillars, not even realizing it, that I needed to be strong spiritually so I could take care of my physical ailments of being almost born too prematurely in 1954. I was born 6.5 weeks early. I had congenital asthma, so I had to keep my mental state strong. When my dad passed away unexpectedly at age 3, I had to be emotionally secure. So I really believe that these were ingrained in me. But if you've never heard of these 6 pillars, they can be ingrained in you. I promise. You see, I experienced personal healings. You've heard of them on other radio shows, other TV shows. My radio show is on Building Fortunes Radio. It is 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And it's a live radio show, buildingfortunesradio.com. And also here on Traverse TV, Mondays at noon. And now we're moving to Thursdays at 6 Eastern time. You'll hear my story that actually I just had to keep focused emotion with all of that trauma in my life, but 100% passion. Because as Helen Keller said, and she knew a little bit about adversity, she said, emotions must be felt with the heart because I will never be at mercy to my emotions. Never. And she was focused with 100% passion. So my above is my chapter of our book. As I said, Ignite Your Wisdom. My book was Feel the Real. That was my chapter. Frankly, I know that it all goes around hope. You heard the intro and you'll hear the outro about there is hope. Hope stands for that O, that opportunity. H is the healing. O, that opportunity of going to your true north to say, it's possible. Then to go out in positivity and empowerment to change first your world, as I said before, and then the world of countless others. Les Brown says it is possible to open up a whole new future for you and yourself. Know that it will give you access to an unlimited power. You have that within yourself. Just know you do. And know all you have to do is believe it's possible because I'm possible. But you are possible too. So come along life's journey. Will you tonight come and find that milkshake moment that is you? And before we do, I'm going to be playing a commercial break of our corporate sponsor. This corporate sponsor is Peter Mingles of Business from Home and HumongousAds.com TV. We love our corporate sponsors. We'll be right back.
Inflation is going through the roof. Food prices, gas prices, housing prices, insurance, everything. The average family is feeling the pinch. So what can you do? Ask your boss for a 20% cost of living wage increase? That won't end well. Fall for a get-rich-quick scheme? There are people who you can rely on to show you how to make money in a home-based business. Give us a chance to walk you through how it works. It's not really that complicated. You just have to find the right opportunity and the right people. Visit www.humongous.com/TV and submit your information. Maybe we can help. Millions of families are wondering how to work from home and earn extra income.
And we are back. And just like PBS, if you, and we want to just honor IgniteYou.life as well as our corporate sponsor. But if you want to partner with us, just go to my Cash App. This is what they do on PBS. Go to my Cash App, $Bear Money, or to my Venmo, Jody-Bear, or PayPal, Jody at Health Coach Jody. Reach out to me. Be a part, and we'll give you a shout out at next week's show, because this, along with my book money, goes to the Casa Robe de Sobre, my charity, and you'll hear more about this later on. So I would love at this point to introduce the lovely Cindy Tank Murphy. She's an international best-selling author, entrepreneur, adventure dreamer, and she named herself on her Facebook page, Clever Belle. I love that. She's a dreamer. She's a doer. She is truly, truly an A-list hero, and soon to be your hero too. I promise you. I love Cindy's riveting quote that she has on her website, and we'll bring that up in just a moment. It says, the strongest people are not those who show strength in front of us, but those who fight battles we know nothing about. That says it all. You'll be drawn to her passion, her mission. Cindy's story is just one of love, loss, redemption, and gratitude. I can tell you, as she says, because love never ends. And I've got a little bit more on her bio that I want to read to you right now. She's a sales and marketing professional with passion for writing and telling stories. She's trained in mental health, first aid, and QPR certified, which is suicide crisis prevention. I found out about that. And crisis preventive trainer. She's going to be soon going into becoming Reiki certified and believes that we can eliminate the stigma associated with mental health through awareness, open dialogue. She lives in Naperville, Illinois with her husband and her two daughters. And it is absolutely, absolutely my delight and my honor and privilege and pleasure to bring Cindy Tank Murphy to Traverse TV on the T with Cindy Tank. It's a T. Murphy. Welcome to our Life's Milkshake moment, Cindy.
Oh, thank you so much, Jody. It's so good to be here. And thank you for that beautiful introduction. I'm just thrilled to be here today. And
honored. And the honor is mine. And let me tell you, you can take that part out if your doctors, your daughter starts saying, "Oh, mom." You can clip this video and say, this is what she said about me. You're allowed to do that, okay?
I will.
And so just tell us a little bit about you personally, anything you wish, just invite you into our listening audience and vice versa.
Sure. I'd love to share a little bit about myself. So like you, I grew up in a small rural town, but in the state of Iowa. I am the oldest of 4 siblings, and I grew up in a household where my father really kind of battled a lifelong illness with depression. And you'll understand more about that a little bit later, but I think it's important to share that. I grew up in, this wonderful household, and for a long time, I have always had this drive or passion, I'll call it, maybe just a nudge that I'm supposed to write a book. I went on to school and studied journalism, and it just kept coming back at me and saying, "You need to write a book. You need to write a book." I'm like, "Okay, I'm hearing you, but I don't know what that's supposed to be about." And it wasn't until about 5 years ago when I went on a humanitarian trip to New Zealand, and I actually spoke on an international stage about suicide. And I shared a story of a young girl named Morgan, as well as my father. And I explained, how the loss, how it transpired. I explained how we need to change a lot of the things that we currently do in our society around mental illness. And the one thing that I realized after telling this story, and my own personal story, was that people reacted. And I didn't expect this, but they came up to me and people would say to me, "I lost a sister to suicide," or "I lost a best friend in high school to suicide." And they had this commonality. They hadn't shared it probably with many people in their lives. Some of them maybe never shared it with anyone. They had this yearning to understand why and learn more and just what had happened and why, what can we do about it? And the third and final thing was that they really never, ever wanted to see anyone else have to go through and endure the pain that we as survivors of suicide do. And
beautiful.
I knew I was onto something. And so, as I started to evolve and heal myself through my loss and my grief and get educated, I knew that there was a place for me in this space to share more, to help educate survivors of suicide loss and allow us to really come together and be this voice and erase the stigma around it. Because the only way we're going to get to the next level of help and care is to have open and honest dialogues. And so that's really what my goal is. And as you mentioned, I am married. I married my high school sweetheart. We've been married for 25 years. And I have 2 amazing daughters. And I love traveling. I enjoy doing humanitarian work. I enjoy spending time in nature. And yeah, I'm just pleased and excited to be here.
And country music. I know that one too.
All types of music. My
And,
daughter is a singer and songwriter, so I love it all.
and I think I was going, how many years was that you've been with that high school sweetheart?
Well, it's over 30 years that we've been
Whoa.
together, because we started dating between our junior and senior year of high school, and then we're married after college, a few years after college. So
And when you just know, and the comments are just, I'm getting more love, little hearts around here than I ever do, because I know as a health coach and life coach that since it's COVID culture too, I mean, I saw a statistic that 3 out of 5 households are dealing with somebody who has depression or is battling just a mental illness. And if we just throw it under the rug, guess what? The rug's going to get lumpy, lumpy, lumpy. And see, so here you and I came together with our beautiful book, Ignite Your Wisdom. And yes, you can get a copy from Cindy. Hers would be autographed and signed personally. This is a limited edition. Myself, like I said, these go to my charity. But absolutely, tell us a little bit about your beginning, how you found Ignite, because we all have that Ignite moment. Obviously yours came jumping out at you, but with our book release, how did Ignite come into your life, and what was this experience like for you?
yeah, well, it was amazing, Jody. As you know, I met JB Owen through a mutual friend. At the time, I knew I wanted to write a book, and my friend said, I think I should put you in contact with Ignite Publishing and JB Owen. And so I had this conversation with her, and literally at the time, again, like I said, 20 years in the making, I had no idea where to begin, what I needed to do, where to start. I didn't nothing. All I knew is that I was supposed to write this book. And it was strong. It was a strong calling. And through working with JB and her amazing team, I began as a white glove solo author, and her team and she and her team have taught me the strategies of how to, really put your chapters together and organize them, have your anchor points ready, all of those key things that I would have never thought of in writing my first book. And it was really important because it just helped me then guide me to writing. And then, of course, along the way, I met all these other amazing authors like yourself. And I heard about this Ignite Your Wisdom opportunity. And again, I just like, ding, 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 something called. I said, I have to do this. And that's really how I live my life. If I feel like I'm called to do something, no matter how much it scares me, I know that I'm supposed to just take one step forward, take another step forward. And so through that whole process, within 3 months, I think I wrote my chapter, we published, we went international bestseller in 7 countries, and it was amazing. Like I was, it raised.
We did it in one day. We
I
did
know.
it in one day.
So yes, it was a fantastic opportunity and a fantastic experience.
And yes, ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be a plug for Ignite Publishing and whatever. I'm just called to do that, because if you're called, you'll be equipped. You just said yes. I hear JB Owen as she's riding through for Ignite Humanity. Ladies and gentlemen, you're going to hear about this in our next commercial. She and her husband, Peter, riding across Canada for Ignite Humanity. A majority of the portion of our books through Ignite Publishing go to the Classroom of Hope as well. And I'm going to put this banner up in just a minute. It's amazing. But what JB says is just say yes. Just say yes, because you will be equipped. I said yes. My book is coming out in January. I've never written anything. I was a practitioner. I mean, I didn't write. I had no idea. Well, she gives you ideas. So when you come together, as we have, and I hear Les Brown saying, if you don't have to be great to get started, just get started to be great. And your chapter is great. And my goodness gracious, what you have done, with all of a sudden, well, I'm going to write a solo book, but then I could just hear JB, but you're going to be an Argnite Wisdom because she's always one, be best, beat your best or be best. That's her thing. So we know that you're in the book. I know that your story is beautiful. You just radiate in your picture. So let's go slip into and share your journey of loss. And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, the strength2live.com is Cindy's website. You can go out, you can reach there. You will get tools and just strength and hope if you're going through and you know somebody that's going through. And I'm going to just say before we go back to your next question, what Les Brown says, what you're going through, you will get through with another. And if you're listening to this rebroadcast, if you're listening to this now, if you listen to it on traversetv.com later on, you will know you will get through. So share your journey of loss, Cindy, what you want to, of course. And how did you go, as you state on your website, from guilt, shame, anger, and unanswered questions to giving hope and triumph in the tragedy? Would you please?
Sure, I would love to. So, my journey, I think, began really with this kind of a spiritual awakening, really. I mean, when you're hit with that amount of pain and tragedy, you have two choices. And I think this is I'm quoting this from another famous person. I won't be able to tell you who, but you can get bitter or you can get better. Mm-hmm. I've heard that so many times, and you all probably have heard that. And I knew that I had all these questions, this yearning, and it's something that I've talked to so many survivors of suicide that have the exact same thing. It's like the very first part of the grieving process for someone that's lost someone to suicide is, why did this happen? Why didn't I know? How could I have stopped it? What could I have done differently? Was it my fault? All of these questions come flooding in, and you realize at some point they're not going to get answered. You can't answer those things. And so through my process of healing, I just began to educate myself. At the same time, all this was going on, I learned that I had my own daughter was struggling with her own thoughts of self-harm. And so my passion grew even stronger. So I've lived on both sides of it. I've lived on the side of losing someone to suicide and how I needed to heal from that. And I also am living on the side of trying to keep someone alive who is struggling and going through that. And having those combination of experiences has really given me all the tools to really dig deep in my, educating myself on this topic. And so, after realizing that I knew my life was never going to be the same, right? Yeah. After losing my father, my life was never going to be exactly the same. I needed to figure out a way to make it better and transform. And one of the things my siblings and I did was we started a women empowerment t-shirt company called Clever Belle. And
that's where the Clever Belle comes from. Nice.
Yes. And so it was a family business. It was something that we rallied behind just literally months after my father passed, because my father was an entrepreneur as well. And so it was something that we just felt so strongly about. And at about 2 years, or roughly 2 years into that process, maybe a year and a half, I'll say, I made the decision that I was no longer fulfilled in my corporate world. I really wanted to take this to another level. And so I quit my corporate job, and the first thing I knew I needed to do is I needed to find other entrepreneurs. I needed to learn. I needed mentors. So it began this journey of, self-discovery. Like I said, just this, what I'd say, a spiritual journey, a healing journey. And through all of that, I've just accumulated a lot of this, a lot of things, a lot of thoughts, and a lot of feelings around how we approach mental illness. So that's really what transpired out of my book.
Oh, and I mean, if that isn't enough, everything. See, what I get out of that, Cindy, is that for every problem, there's a solution. But there are some things that you can't get, and and the answer is no answer.
Yeah.
And relationally, I see this, I hear it from my clients. Sometimes there is no answer. So how do you begin? And you've done this so beautifully. I mean, as a health and life coach, I've seen so many people, like the majority. That's why when I sent you that text earlier on, I said, I honor you. I mean this sincerely, because in my practice, it's 9 out of 10 people, they just get stuck.
Yeah.
And they don't move from family tragedy. And it may be in this violent climate that we live in our society. It might be somebody that gets murdered.
Mhm.
You know, it's that loss, and they just get stuck there. But with suicide, it wasn't anticipated at all that it was, as you called it, self-harm. But they get stuck, and I want to honor that as well, and rightfully so. Rightfully so. You get stuck in this tragedy, but you turn tragedy into a mission. And I just want to say, way to go. The strengthtolive.com. Ladies and gentlemen, viewing audience, share this website. Cindy has been so comprehensive in setting this up. You absolutely have a step-by-step thing, what you can do before you even reach out to her. And you can reach out to her at Strength to Live on all social medias, but everything is there. So knowing that this is a bigger thing than you were absolutely anticipating, but we all know it's big, that those statistics, 800 people die of suicide in a year, but 45,000 in the US alone. I guess it's more pervasive in other cultures, but my goodness gracious, but these step by step, they're just beautiful. So let's take this through the honoring your loved one, and then we'll go on to the next one.
Yeah, yeah. And I do thank you, Jody, for that. First of all, for that statistic is, that statistic really hits me hard because when you think about the amount of people globally, 800,000 people a year, every single year. And we know that statistically at least 10 people, their family members, friends, at least 10, which I'm sure it's way more than that, are dramatically impacted by that death, right? And here we are, these survivors is what I like to call us. We are surviving through this pain. But what is the hard part is that it's not something that we're usually living in silence. A lot of survivors are not coming out and saying, like I said, these people would come to me and say, I lost a sister, but I've never told anyone that story. This is something that, again, that's why I feel so passionate about it, because there's so many people that are impacted, and it's almost gotten to the point where you can't find someone who hasn't or doesn't know someone that they've lost that way. But yes, getting into the healing part of it and the steps, like you said, there are so many modalities that I have found that have been very helpful along in my journey. Some of them have been connecting with my loved one through my thoughts and feelings. I think what people don't understand is, no matter whether they're here or they're gone, we can still talk to them.
Yes.
And a lot of times we can still hear what they would be saying to us if we listen.
Yes.
And so that is a big piece of it, is really connecting with them. And I have some steps for that. There's also the point where, when you are yearning and asking all these questions, what's the next stage that comes with that? It's surrender. And when we finally surrender, we finally release the burden of not being able to know or find out all the answers that we want, that's truly when the healing can begin.
Well, and this on, and we really do have time, dear. We really do. Okay. That honoring your loved one, then you going in how to connect. So take us through what that looks like.
Yeah. So I learned this technique through a wonderful human being that helped me on my healing process, and her name is Burge Smith Lyons, and she's an amazing coach, and she taught me that there is a way for me to talk to my Father. And the process really is simple. I sat down, um, lit a white candle, and just kind of closed my eyes and thought about him, brought him into my vision.
Mm.
And then after that, you watch for the candle to start to flicker, and you call, you call and say, Dad, I'm here to listen. I'm here to speak to you. And I just shared everything that I was feeling, whether it was, anger, sadness, all the questions that I thought I had needed an answer for. And I just said everything I had in me until I had nothing more to say. And then I silently stopped and asked him if he would like to speak to me, and allowed him to then share. Just again, wait for my own voice in my head. And I could hear him speaking. I could hear him saying, all the things that I wanted to hear from him. And that visualization and that technique was so uncomfortable to me the first time I ever did it, right?
Girl from Iowa and living in Illinois. We Midwestern girls, we don't do that.
Right. But it meant it really gave me such a sense of peace. So much so that I've shared it with other people that have lost, a parent or a loved one, and told them how to use it as well, because I believe in it so much, and it is so effective.
Beautiful, beautiful. And then you've got the third one is signs from angels.
Yeah. Yeah. I had heard people tell me stories prior to me losing anyone close about these, phenomenons, I'll call them, where their loved ones, would flick on a TV, or they would leave a room and a light would be off, and then all of a sudden they come back and a light would be on, and I was kind of like, oh, okay, whatever. And when my father passed, he provided us with a ton of signs that he was okay from the other side. Immediately after he passed, we had a lot of symbols, and one of them that I share in my book is the symbol of yellow airplanes. And there's a very long story behind that. Yeah, there's a very long story behind that, but I will tell you that I see yellow airplanes, and particularly crop dusters. And that is my symbol. And I without sharing too much of the book, because it is an entire chapter about that. There's just so many lovely signs, and we can ask for our signs. We can say, Dad, send me a sign with pennies, or send me a sign with feathers. But we can ask for anything. We just have to know how to listen and how to receive them. And when we do receive them, we need to thank them. We need to thank them, because they're working hard to show us those signs.
And still show love. I mean, and then this is the biggie to me, releasing the burden. Mm-hmm. Because a burden is stress, and stress is the number one cause of all disease. I know this one.
Yeah.
So what does it look like with releasing the stress?
Yeah, there are several techniques. There are things that everyone needs to find their own technique that works for them. So for me, I like to do meditation. I like to do yoga. There are so many things. It could be just writing in your journal. There's studies that show people that, especially after grief, that write in their journal it increases your well-being tremendously. So I like to say there are, I give examples and I share a lot of ideas, but everyone has their own. Everyone will have something that resonates with them. And, my dad had a quote. He had it hanging, around him all the time, and he used to say it a lot, but in it truly is the epitome of that. And he said, he goes, get rid of the things that cause you burden, and do the things you love. And that's really what he used to say that, and that
Oh,
really is what this is all about, is just finding something that you are passionate about, that you love, and that you can put your energy and focus into.
when you release those things that encumber you, then you can go into you. That's
Yes.
just that. I mean, and then of course, my biggie, I mean, self care, because you're the only person that will never leave you. That's my quote, feel the real in my
That's right.
chapter, when you take care of you and your world first. So, what does self care look for the members that have suffered
Mhm.
through suicide?
Yeah. Well, in my book that'll be coming out, I actually take my readers through several what I call healing moments, and they're all based on self-care. They're all based
Mm.
on things that you can do for yourself, to care for yourself, to help you transition from that place of, again, the shame, the guilt, the anger, the emotional side of it, and really transition into a feeling of peace, and a feeling of being uh, this new version of yourself, having a new perspective, and being able to be that um, that beacon of light or beacon of hope for others. Because when we put ourselves, or we put others in front of ourselves, when we put ourselves into a position of empathy, and now seeing what people are struggling and understanding the struggles of people that are going through difficult times, whether it's a true mental illness, or just the struggles and stresses of life. But when we can put ourselves in their shoes and understand with empathy, that's when we transition into a place of emerging from that.
And life is all about surrender. So I
Yeah.
just want to review these for our viewing audience. And Cindy, I just got to tell you, I've never seen so many hearts that people are just throwing here. You know, they're feeling your hearts, and they are. But
Thank you.
honoring your loved one, connect, signs from angels, releasing the burden, self care, and surrender. Wow. Wow. So I've got a surprise for you. Yes, I do. So, dun da da da, as we say down south, one more again. We just have one more because your solo book is coming out, The Strength to Live. And here it is. International best-selling author Cindy Tank Murphy, soon to be international best-selling author again. I really believe that you created because of your heart, your passion. You can just feel this. Can you imagine having this book and being able to give it to a gift, giving it to crisis prevention centers, giving it to this? I mean, my marketing mind is just going like crazy. But Cindy, the book cover is beautiful, and I know the contents are even that much more outstanding. So I know you'll be able to order it on your website, the Strength to Live. I'm sure it is there for sure, among other things. But let's just go in and share this process
Mhm.
of how you were impacted in your book, because I remember, since I am in the mastermind with you with JB, when he said that you interviewed people time after time after time. This just isn't any book, ladies and gentlemen. It's a case study of real live people with real live experiences. I said,
Mhm.
how? I mean, you might have felt, maybe you felt healing through this, but I'm thinking, this is one strong Midwestern woman. Congratulations for that. Seriously.
Well, thank you. Yeah. The book, I knew that the book needed to have, well, first of all, I knew I needed to tell my story, because people, people relate to our stories.
Yes.
And by being vulnerable, um, it opens up the door for other people to be vulnerable. And in our healing, we have to allow ourselves to be vulnerable. So I knew that I needed to interview people from different walks of life and what they had gone through, um, both the details of their loved ones, and honor those loved ones and those beautiful lives that they lived, even though they left us too soon. I wanted to honor those lives, And then I also wanted to let readers understand and know that their stories are not, they're not alone. Their stories are not just about them. These are stories that unfortunately happen way too often.
Yes.
And so in telling the stories of these other people that I interviewed, I also wanted to instill hope and what they did to get through that hope and or get through the tragedy into the hope moment. And it was beautiful how it unfolded, because as I interviewed people, each of the steps kind of came to me. So I developed a 6-step healing process
Nice.
within the book as well. And
So these are different than what you got on
they're
the
even different from what I've got on the website. Yes.
That's why you got to get the book in September. You got to get the
book. Yeah. And these 6 healing steps that I personally went through, I heard them again as people shared their stories, and I'm like, okay, this is something that has helped others. So it's a proven process. And there is a lot of work that you have to do. It doesn't just happen overnight. The grief and the healing journey it's not a linear process. In fact, just a few days ago was the anniversary of my father's death, and every year on that date, it hits me in a way that I don't anticipate until that day comes, and that happens to a lot of people. Like everything, the grief kind of bubbles back up again, and we just have to again realize that we've gotten this far, we've come this far. We've done the work. We've got through. If you can get through, I believe, these steps, you reemerge, and then you're at the point where I am, where I can tell my full story and not feel any shame, not feel any guilt, not feel any anger, but just be able to share it in a loving way to help others. And that's really what I want people to get to, is that point where they can ultimately tell their story and own it, and not have those icky feelings and emotions attached to it, which is a really hard place to get to.
But once again, I'm hearing Les Brown in my head, that what you are going through, you will get through.
Yeah.
And you will get to the other side. And when you do, then it's one person helping another. And so did this help you? Now, you had several years, but did this help you expand your healing space for yourself, healing others?
Absolutely. I had, like I said, I had a good 5 or 6 years before I started writing the book of healing myself, which I, also involved a lot of education, like I mentioned. But at the same time of writing this book, I was also dealing with my daughter and her crisis. And so I look back, and someone very wise said to me, sometimes we have to be in the thick of the situation in order to really be able to articulate it. And that is how I look at it. I was going through the caregiving stages of trying to find the right solutions and treatments for my own daughter. And that is where I was at while I was writing this book. And so it comes from, like I said, a place of both sides, healing myself and then also healing my daughter.
Well, what a beautiful thing. I mean, Cindy, you have such a liquid eloquence in your voice. It's just, you can't fake real. And so I'm in our closing moments here. I would just love for you to share your last piece of wisdom, but I'm going to be your shameless self-promoter. Look for the book in September, because that is Suicide Prevention Month. So look for this book to come out, and I will be, as a health coach and professional with some influence, I will be there to support you by your side with this, Cindy, for sure.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
And others, reach out to me, reach out to us on Facebook, on YouTube, leave a comment. If you want to get information about this book, if you want to be a part of this movement, because it is, Cindy, you have started something that I really believe is going to be a positive tidal wave for change. So is there a last piece of wisdom, as you said, you just got to download? Please share it with us.
Yeah, actually, Jody, I hadn't thought of this until we were just talking right now, but I would love to offer your listeners. I have found, again, one of the things that has been a gift that I have in my healing is just being a great listener. And if you're sitting out there and you've lost a loved one and you've never told your story, you've never shared what happened to you, what happened to your loved one, I am willing to gift to you a discounted reading, visit. We can sit down for an hour. I usually charge $150 for that, but I would give your listeners a 20% discount. So I think that makes it 120. Am I right with my math? Something like that.
It'll be good. You can invoice that on PayPal. You'll be good.
It'll be good. I promise you, we will just sit down and then I will give you the steps to healing in that session as well. And, we can have a one-on-one conversation. I know that when I met with the people that I interviewed, one of the things that they told me time and time again was, Cindy, no one's ever asked me to tell my story. And just listening to them, I know provided healing. So to anyone out there that's struggling, I'm very willing to be that listening, and I would love to invite that.
You know what JB says about this, that the story that's in you, that you're sitting on, somebody is waiting on, and that is so true. So nobody's waiting on this. We'll be waiting patiently now here for 6 or 7 weeks till your book hits, and I know it will be an international bestseller. And Cindy, I really mean this with all my heart. As we say down south, soul and gizzard and every other body part. I mean it all the way, girl. Thank you for going in, taking your tragedy, turning it into triumph. And ladies and gentlemen, she's going to be for Suicide Prevention Month. She'll be back on Mindset Mondays at noon here on Traverse TV. But thank you for taking your time. Thank you for sharing your story. But thank you for giving us your heart.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on. I'm so thrilled. Thank you so much. And all my love to your listeners.
Absolutely. And so here we go. We are going to now hear from our corporate sponsor again, Ignite Humanity.
Now, more than ever, we need to come together to connect with one another. We need to feel the truth in who we are and let go of everything that's happened in the past. We need to empower every person on the planet and awaken hearts, enliven souls, come together, laugh, play, rejoice, connect, create, and love. It's time to ignite humanity. We want you to be a part of something that will impact the future for everyone. We want you to tell your story, share your Ignite moment, show people who you truly are. Be a part of igniting humanity and making a difference in the world and all of our futures.
Tell your story. Ignite your life. Many of the programs that Ignite You.life, which is the website, Ignite Publishing has going on, is the next mega project is Ignite Humanity. That's what JB Owen is going across with her husband, leading the front of that tandem bike across Canada for. And I'm going to flash this up. I just thought we need to give the school, then the Classroom of Hope. This is a big deal. The Classroom of Hope, because every Ignite book has built a school of Classroom of Hope, first in Cambodia. Now they're moving to Indonesia. But you can go to igniteyou.life and find out and follow JB and Peter whether you're writing, whether you're doing some kind of humanitarian work, if you're exercising, if you're riding your bike, if you are going out and swimming like I do, or running, walking, you can clock your miles with Peter and JB. It's easy to do. It's $49 to start it out. And guess what? You get a medal along with them when they end up in Halifax, Canada. But wait, there's more. You can also know that 100% of the portions, and there are scores of people that are following them. Guess what? They are donating all this money to the Classroom of Hope. And this is what I can say with Ignite Humanity. It's one life at a time, just like Cindy was doing. And I'm telling you, this is more than just a project. It's a movement. And I'm going to flash this up on the screen, because not only do we have the limited edition, but we also have Ignite Your Foundational Health. You know, I'm a foundational health coach. Well, JB asked me when she was here in Florida in February to go ahead and spearhead a project, Ignite Your Foundational Health. More than anything that I have wanted to do, I've had it on my vision board for my 40 years, I believe, since I've been a holistic healer, to bring this modality together, to bring us all together. So not only are we doing a book, a mastermind, we're creating with practitioners and famous people. I'm making a longer announcement here so you know what this is all about. With these famous people, household names, we are writing a foundational healthopedia, just like this is Healthopedia. It's our health network here on Traverse TV. I can tell you it's going to change lives, but then we're going to make it a multi-purpose kind of event, and we'll be coming to a city near you. Cities to be announced, but I've had 4 or 5 authors already say that they would be happy to be the boots on the ground for that particular city. So we'll have it live streamed and in person. You will get to meet the practitioners, get your questions answered, and really have a foundational health experience, one moment at a time. So you can see this ticker across the bottom there. Just reach out to me on that link, or DM me at Health Coach Jody, just at Health Coach Jody with 2 E's, and that link, and you'll be able to be a part of changing lives. If it's this program with Ignite Your Foundational Health, or Ignite Humanity, like JB Owen is going to be doing in October, and meeting the Dalai Lama. That's how it goes. Say yes to you. Say yes to getting through what you need to get through so you can be on the other side, to absolutely be the beacon on a hill, to light that candle. And the candle that's been lit now, and I'm honored to say, as this debut week of being a part of Traverse TV, on the T with Traverse TV, to have our own health channel, Healthopedia. Stay tuned for more as we build this Healthopedia network larger and larger and larger in all 6 pillars of human existence: spiritual, physical, mental, emotional, social, and financial. We hit a 2-for-1 today with mental and emotional for sure. And remember, I'm here every single weekday, Monday, live, noon Eastern, on Mindset Monday. Just a great way to get your mind set for the rest of the week and take your lunch break. And then we're moving to Thursdays on the T on Traverse TV. 2 Life's Milkshake Moments will now be Thursday at 6 p.m. Remember, HOPE stands for healing, opportunity, positivity, and environment of empowerment. It really, really does. To heal, go down into you. Nobody knows you like you do. Go up to your true north and opportunity, to come in positivity, and then go out in empowerment, not only to change you, your circle, and the world. My true tenet of life, there is hope through the trauma. There is hope to find clarity, peace, and renewed hope. DM me at Health Coach Jody, to order your copy of the 2 books that are present, to get information on how to contact Cindy Tank Murphy as well. Remember, her IG handle is at the strength to live. At the strength to live. Her website is strengthtolive.com. Be a part of being a patron and a donation as we reach people in the world. And we reach out to my charity that I have to end this broadcast with because it's very near and dear to my heart. It is La Casa Roba de Sobre in Colombia, where they brought the orphans that have no parents and the elderly that need a purpose. We put them under one roof, children and orphans, because we come into this world alone and we go out of this world alone, but together we need each other. So remember, you can find me at healthcoachjody.com. That's Jody with 2 E's, at Health Coach Jody on all social medias. And if you just do old school and you want to get a hold of me, it is 800-820-0854. That's 800-820-0854. And remember, health is not something you do. It is who you are, but more of all, what you become along life's journey. Not life is like a milkshake. Choose your ingredients wisely. And when you do, your life, and in this instance, your mental and emotional sense will be so sweet. So until our next Thursday, this is Dr. J saying, have a healthy day.